Hello the internet, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefi and we're going to be talking about the updated team compositions for Tribe Tower. Tribe Tower, finally we have some more units we can use. Elysion is still on a weird place. Missilis, Tetra, easy picks, we all know who they are, right? But let's talk about the main teams you can be using to progress in towers and also some alternatives depending on what you have on your roster right now. Before we start, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And when this video is out, I should be live on Twitch and YouTube. I say I should because I'm not sure if I'm going to publish this now or maybe tomorrow. So whatever the case, we stream every single day. Come and say hello, have fun with chat, and let's just get started. Now, let's get the easiest team out of the way first. Let's go to squad, let's ignore Crow, and let's start with the easiest one, which is going to be Pilgrim. It doesn't matter what you use for Pilgrim. You probably don't have all of the Pilgrims, right? If you're a well, you know who to use and you don't need this guide. If you don't have all of the Pilgrims, then it doesn't matter which one are the best ones. There's only two options for the one and you have to use both of them because the only healer is Rapunzel, the only B1 that allows you to fully rotate is Dorothy, the only actually B2 is going to be Nihilister because Noah it's a 40-second cooldown. Again, if you only have Noah, it's better to use her than not be able to burst. So if you can, just whatever you can use that. Pilgrim Tower is the hardest one to progress for most free-to-plays because it's 100% luck dependent, right? It's not like you have specific ways of obtaining pilgrims outside of course, Dragon Mummy, which is the only one you can get for free. So that will be for Pilgrim Tower. Just use what you can. If you have everything, then Dorothy, Rapunzel for heals, Dragon Mummy, and whatever 2B3s you like. Of course, a Modernial Scala are gonna be cute. Instead, you can also put the Snow White if you wanted. Haran and Isabel are going to be like the least priority, even though Haran is pretty good and you can put her no problem. That said, let's move into the next troublesome tower, and that's gonna be Elysion. Before we move into Elysion, and before I forget, we do have a written version on our website if you prefer to have everything on a written format. We are redesigning the website, adding a lot of stuff. So, if you prefer that, you have the links in the description, lutanwaifus.com/NIKKE. That said, let's go back to Elysion. Elysion is also on a really weird spot because sadly they are the weakest manufacturer. So let's start talking burst by burst and what you can use, right? If we talk about burst ones, in my opinion, the best one is the best one is going to be Miranda, just because she buffs your attackers. The bad thing about Miranda and why she's not more widely used in the game is because she only buffs one character, which is, c'est la vie, but still is better to use Miranda over something like Emma for a 40-second cooldown burst. Sadly, there's nothing else in here that you can really use. So let's move into the burst tools. If you don't have Miranda, I only have Emma, you can use her. Neon, a lot of people use her for progression, and even Anchor, which was the last SR free unit we got, you could use her. Again, both are bad, both a Neon and Anchor, but at least they provide you with a full burst team, and you can fully burst. That said, let's move into burst 2s. There are some great units on the burst 2 for Elysion. Recently, we've gotten Mast, Marciana, and also Helm Aquamarine. The problem here is, even though, for example, Deezer is amazing, Polly is amazing, Mast and Marciana are great, Elysion lacks cooldown reduction units. The only one we currently have is Helm Aquamarine. So she's probably going to be the best option here. Cooldown reduction is one of the most valuable things in this game because you need to be bursting a lot in order to be dealing more damage and use your abilities accordingly, right? So Helm Aquamarine, it's amazing for this. And actually, it's the only thing she provides to the team because she's not really good for anything else outside of electric enemies. So if you don't have Helm Aquamarine because you were saving on Summer and you don't want to pull with her, you have multiple options. If you want a healer, you have Marciana. Depending on who you have, you could use in Marsh. She's a great buffer, but only for specific teams. If not, I would recommend going with Diesel. She's an amazing unit. Honestly, you can invest in Diesel. I think she is underrated and needs some more love. But I will go Helm Aquamarine in my opinion, right? Signal and Enwa, not really good picks. If you don't have anything else, you could use them, but again, not really good picks. Now let's move into B3s, and this is the biggest problem for Elysion right now. There is not really strong DPSs. The strongest unit here in terms of just pure raw DPS will be Guillotine, but she requires a lot of conditions, right? She needs to be super low HP, she needs to be focused around crit teams, and just Elysion cannot provide that on their own. But still, she is probably your best option for DPS. If you don't have a Guillotine, I will suggest you have Helm for heals, so you can play double Helm. If you are using Marciana, then you don't need to use Helm. If you are using something else for your burst 2, I recommend Helm. She's the best healer actually for Lee Sin, in my opinion, or one of the best. Also, Private is gonna be amazing here. Her stun will allow you to progress even when the combat power deficit keeps growing. Just having those 3 seconds on every burst is gonna be so good for the stun. So those 3 are the best options. Let's be honest, Maiden, Quitty, D, and Bestie are not that good. You can use them though. I'm not saying they are bad. You could be using Maiden, is a great shotgun. You could be using D for faster bursting, even though her DPS is quite lacking. And Bestie, if invested, is actually, I don't want to say decent DPS, but it's not bad either, right? It's one of those characters that you only use if you don't have anything else available for your team. In my opinion, I will go Miranda, Helm, and then I will probably Privately, Helm, and Guillotine. And then I will burst, depending on what you're doing, the level and the combat power difference between Privately, Guillotine, and when you need the Helms, actually, and when you need the heals, actually use Helm. That's it. This will be my team for Relation personally and how to progress. Let's move into Tetra, which is probably the one with the most options available right now in the game. Now, when we talk about Tetra, it's pretty easy to select units because they have probably not the strongest units in the game, but one of the strongest units in the game. So, of course, let's go with the easy first one, right? You're going to be using Volume, Bunny Girls, whatever you have for burst 3. Sephi, what happens if I don't have Bunny Girls but I don't have Volume? Let's talk about, right? But if we talk about burst 1s, the best option is going to be Volume, at least in my opinion. Noise is amazing, but she's 40 seconds, so you need someone else as well. Ludmilla is a pretty good tank. Summer Mary by Goddess, it's amazing as a healer, and if super invested, she's actually dealing a lot of damage, which was quite surprising. Rosanna, Sakura, Jan, and the rest of the girls are not as good. You can use some other units if you don't have either Volume, Ludmilla, Noise, or Mary. So you could be using Jan, you could be using Milk, you could be using Cocoa, and Soda. They're not bad units, it's just we have better options. Once again, the best one is going to be Volume. She's providing cooldown reduction, a lot of boost for your team, and one of the best assets in the game, which we all like, right? When we talk about burst 2s, if you don't have Bunny Girls, right? Bunnies are the meta for this manufacturer, 100%. Tetra and Bunnies go hand by hand. If you don't have them, you have plenty of good options. Dolla is pretty good, Ruby is pretty good, Noble and Viper are also pretty good. It really depends what your other big 3s are gonna be, who your healer is gonna be, and what you're planning to do, right? So, in my opinion, I do really like Dolla a lot, but you already have cooldown reduction here and the moves, so it might be a little bit redundant. Something like Noble could be amazing as well. That said, once again, Bunnies are the option here. If we talk about B3s, there's not that many options for B3s, but the ones we have are super strong. Now, shout out to Nif, she's great unit. If you don't have anyone else, you can use Nif. She's a good DPS, considering she's an SR unit, right? If we consider she's an SR unit. Sugar, amazing. If you are using Boonies, both of them, and you have Nor, you can go full shotgun team, it's gonna carry you. If you have Alice, she will carry you. The worst option in here is gonna be Yulha, because you usually want to pair her on Snow White teams, depending on what you're doing for co-op or a solo raid, but outside of that, you don't really use Yulha. So once again, in my opinion, I will go Bunny Girls, I will go Alice, and whatever pillar you want to put in here on your last spot. That is my opinion, at least, on what the good team will be for Tetra. Now let's move into that one, which is going to be Missy Liz, and who you should be putting in here. Now, just like Tetra, Missy Liz is an easy one. You have Mighty Tools, you have Schoolgirls, and you have Matisse squad. Those 3 squads will carry you. You don't need anything else. But let's just talk about alternatives just in case. So once again, best B1 in the game, and probably the best unit in the game, in my opinion. Later, B1, no discussions. If you don't have her and you have Tia and Naga, both of them, you can run Tia. You need someone else still, but you can run Tia. If you don't have them, Pepper is a good healer. Jakal, I will personally not run her, even though she's not like super bad. And shout out to N102 because she is the strongest SR in the game, thanks to the boosts that she's providing for the team. So if you have Litter, that's gonna be the best one you can run. If you are running, of course, Tia and Naga, run them. That should be your priority if you pull for them. So running both of them here. If you don't have Tia and Naga, the best 2 options are gonna be Senti and Guilty. Guilty is free, so you don't have to worry about it. Sin is also free. She's a little bit worse than Guilty. No, a lot worse actually. Guilty is a top tier DPS. I would still recommend going with Senti because the shields and the survivability she's providing is a lot better than the DPS from Guilty. If you don't have any of them, Admi is a good unit. Juni I don't like her, but you can use her. And then Quincy is actually a good healer as well if you are missing someone. And then lastly, when it comes to B3s, once again, Matisse squad, Laplace, Drake, Maxwell. If you don't have them, Crow is useless, don't use her. Julia is not really used here in these compositions. And then a Pinel, you can use her only if it's on levels with a lot of enemies. She needs to kill in order to stack up her buffs and actually deal more damage. So you can be using her, and if you are seed-up, you can use Mihara as the official husband. But of course, Matisse squad is gonna carry you. When we have to pick between Matisse squad, Laplace, Drake, and Maxwell, Maxwell is the strongest out of the three. If we talk about the other two, I personally think Drake is a little bit better, but they are both at the same levels. Just use whatever you have as the last filler. So once again, you have a filler spot you can put in there, going Litter, Schoolgirls, Maxwell, and whatever other big three you want to put in there. If you don't have a Schoolgirls, once again, you could be running something like Quincy if you need a healer. You can be running Sentive for the survivability. You can be running Guilty if you want the extra DPS. But the best option, of course, is going to be running this. So that will be the team with a filler spot for another B3 of your pick. I personally like Matisse squad, but it depends if you have all of the units or not. And honestly, that's it for the recommendations. Once again, if you do prefer a written version, you have it on the website. If not, thanks for watching the video, for staying up until here, until the end. Thank you to my patrons for making this content possible. You can join them with the link in the description down below. Reminder that we will be running the free-to-play challenge later in a couple of weeks. So free-to-play challenge, we have more than 25 content creators joining us. We're seeing if more people are joining or not. So a lot of people joining the free-to-play challenge is going to be 2 weeks where everyone creates a new account. We all join the same guild and see who can get the farthest, right? So it's going to be a pretty good time. Come join us. Even if you're not a content creator, you can join. That's it. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Good luck with your pool, the internet, and see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。